The number one reason why vertigo keeps coming back. If you have vertigo, you're going to be very happy you watched this video. Most people, and I'm assuming you know about the Epley maneuver, which you're positioning your head in a certain way to help move some of the loose calcium crystals back into a place where they should be so they stop creating vertigo or dizziness. And it really does work. And if you don't know about it, I will put a link down below in the description. But the problem is, for a lot of people, the dizziness keeps coming back. So they have to keep doing this Epley maneuver over and over and over so that spinning stops. So the question is, why doesn't that maneuver fix the problem? Well, the answer is that maneuver does fix where those crystals are, but it doesn't fix why those crystals keep falling off in the first place. You have these little calcium crystals that should normally be attached to these tiny little hairs. And the reason why there's calcium crystals at the top of this little hair is to help you sense your position in space. But the problem is these little crystals can pop off and start floating in the wrong location, creating vertigo. That's called BPPV. It stands for benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, which is the most common type of vertigo. And I'm also going to answer why this condition is more common in women after menopause, and also why it's more common in people with osteoporosis. I want to introduce you to a new product called benfotiamine. This is a comprehensive formula tailor-made to nourish healthy nerve function. Unlike typical B1 products, this is a fat-soluble B1 that has very unique properties to help penetrate that outer sheath of the nervous system called the myelin sheath. Each serving has 300 milligrams of fat-soluble benfotiamine, plus we added B12, B6, folate, alpha-lipoic acid, vitamin D, and magnesium, because all of those are cofactors to help support a healthy nervous system. So you do the Epley maneuver, within 30 minutes you feel better, but then maybe a couple weeks later, you're right back to where you started. So why are these crystals falling off? Well, it just so happens they're supposed to be glued or cemented to this hair with a very special glue. It's a calcium binding protein called osteopontin. Okay, not that you needed to know, but it's glue that keeps this calcium attached to the hair. And as long as this binding protein is keeping it in this gel area, everything is good, no vertigo. So I did a deep dive into this glue, this binding protein, and I found something very fascinating that I'm going to share with you. What happens when this calcium binding protein goes too high, it becomes unregulated and starts to degrade the connection between the crystal and the hair. That's what makes it break off, when this calcium binding protein is actually too high in the body. Now the next question is, if this protein is too high in your bone, what happens? Well, guess what? The calcium in the bone can't stay in the bone. It starts leaving the bone, very similar to the calcium leaving the inner ear and traveling in another location. But what is controlling the calcium binding protein? It just so happens the main influence over that protein is, and you guessed it, vitamin D. There's significant research in people taking enough vitamin D and actually putting this condition back in remission, including a meta-analysis on the prevention of BPPV using vitamin D. And also think about the importance of vitamin D in osteoporosis. Vitamin D controls calcium. It helps you absorb calcium in your gut. It also prevents rickets in kids. That's like your bones are too soft. And also in adults, they call it osteomalacia. Now, the other question is, why do women after menopause have a higher incidence of this vertigo? Because when estrogen drops that far, the vitamin D receptor loses its sensitivity. There's another study that shows the connection between low estrogen and vitamin D sensitivity. In other words, the less estrogen you have, the less vitamin D is going to work in your body, because that receptor is no longer as sensitive to pull in that vitamin D. So let me give you the protocol that I would recommend. I would not do the regular RDA, 600 IUs of vitamin D3. I don't think that's going to do anything. To really influence and get this calcium binding protein to be regulated properly, you would need between 6,000 to 10,000 IU of vitamin D3 every single day. And if you had osteoporosis, that number would probably be higher. Number 2, vitamin K2. For every 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 that you take, you need about 100 micrograms of vitamin K2. I would recommend the MK7 version. I'll put these details in the description. So you want a certain ratio of vitamin D3 to vitamin K2. Now, why would you need vitamin K2? Vitamin K2 has everything to do with keeping calcium out of the soft tissue and in your bone and your teeth. And you probably can find a vitamin D that comes with K2 as well. I have a free download that I want to give to you. This free download is my daily routine in a checklist. This is a routine that I use every day to feel like I'm 18 years old, even though I'm 60 years old, and I want to give it to you for free. And so there's a little link down below. Click it and definitely download that. Number 3, magnesium. Magnesium is the master controller over calcium. It's a very important coenzyme. And in fact, if you don't have enough magnesium, vitamin D won't work and vitamin K2 won't work because both are dependent on magnesium. And a lot of people are deficient in magnesium. So I'm going to recommend 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate with the K2 and vitamin D. And I would take this over a period of weeks to be able to make sure that this does not come back. What you're doing is you're building up your reserves so you have enough control over this protein to keep these attachments to the calcium secure. Okay, that's all you're doing. So the Epley maneuver is the quick fix, but this is the long-term fix. Now, you might be wondering, why haven't I heard about this? Okay, I searched WebMD, I looked at Healthline, I didn't see this information. Well, you're right, it's not on there. Those mainstream established sites push out consensus from certain guidelines that are completely outdated. They were last updated in 2017. So every 5 to 10 years, they update the information. So you might have to wait a little bit before you actually see what I'm showing you. The point that I'm making is the research is there, it's been done, it's just not out in the mainstream yet. Now, I have done over 280 videos on vitamin D. It's a fascinating vitamin. It's involved in a lot of different processes. And since I've mentioned it, I highly recommend you watch this video on vitamin D right here. Check it out so you can have the full understanding of what it does.